Is that why? It's about another civil rights leader we're going to learn about. Okay, let's make sure everybody's here. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back. I see Finn and Isley and Catherine. Hi, Finn, Isley, Catherine. And Colin's connecting. Okay, let's do some checking off on our schedule and see what's next. We're going to check off snack and recess. We're gonna check off music. Next on our schedule, we just have just a couple minutes for social studies before Miss Eccles will be here for library. Just a couple minutes for social studies. So last week, we were talking about civil rights as rights that everybody should have just because you're a human, right? And we were talking about civil rights leaders, people that inspired other people and motivated other people, people that worked hard to make sure everybody has civil rights. And last week, we talked about Martin Luther King Jr., and that was the civil rights leader that we talked about last week. This week, we're going to learn about other civil rights leaders, okay? We're going to learn about like 3 or 4 other civil rights leaders, other people that worked really, really hard to make sure everybody had civil rights, okay? So for today, we have library in about 5 minutes. We're just gonna watch a real quick brain pop about another civil rights leader named Malcolm X, and then it'll probably be time for library like right after that. So I'm gonna share my screen, and maybe we'll have time to talk about a little bit, or it might already be time for library. Let's wait, let's see.
Dear Tim and Moby, how come Malcolm X doesn't get a holiday like Martin Luther King? Curious, shy. That's a tough question. Both Malcolm and Martin were hugely influential leaders during the American Civil Rights Movement. They were focused on the same goal of achieving equality for African Americans, but they followed profoundly different approaches in their fight for freedom. King took cues from the Indian struggle to end British colonial rule. Its leader, Mahatma Gandhi, had relied on peaceful means to liberate his people. His methods of nonviolent protest inspired King. Malcolm X took a much more aggressive stance. That's why he's often considered controversial. Malcolm Little was born in Nebraska in 1925. This was during the height of segregation in America. African Americans were kept apart from whites in public spaces like schools and restaurants. They could only live in certain neighborhoods and hold specific types of jobs. Segregation policed black behavior, too. They had to act with the utmost respect toward whites. Failure to do so ran you the risk of being jailed, beaten, even killed. Well, segregation was worse in the South because it was enforced by the state. In other parts of the country, it took a subtler form. Citizens themselves made sure that African Americans were kept down. Growing up in the Midwest, Malcolm felt this firsthand. He excelled in school and dreamt of becoming a lawyer, but a teacher told him to forget about that and become a carpenter instead. At home, Malcolm received a more encouraging message. His father, Earl, spoke out for the rights of African Americans. He organized meetings and urged his community to take a stand against bigotry. That made the Littles targets of violent hate groups. When Malcolm was only 6, his father died under very suspicious circumstances. The death fractured Malcolm's family, and he ended up dropping out of school. He got caught up in a life of crime and wound up in prison. Yeah, but it was there that he began a lifelong journey of self-education. He read constantly, devouring everything from history to science to philosophy, and began studying the teachings of a black Muslim group, the Nation of Islam. Up to that point, he hadn't thought much of religion, but the NOI was like no religion he'd ever heard of. Its ideas seemed to explain the deep anger Malcolm was feeling about where his life had ended up. The NOI said that America would always be a racist country and that African Americans would never get a fair shake there. The only reasonable response was black nationalism, the desire to carve out a completely distinct country for black people. This might be in the United States or maybe even in Africa. African Americans would have their own schools, businesses, and government. Many civil rights leaders saw these views as extreme or even racist, but Malcolm was drawn to the nation's goals. While in prison, he began writing to their leader, Elijah Muhammad. He joined the movement and took the name Malcolm X. This was a common practice among NOI members. Many African Americans had inherited their last names from slave owners. The X was a rejection of that legacy. It also represented a broken link to their African roots. They could never really know their real names or larger family history. Taking pride in their African heritage was a big part of NOI teachings. After his release from prison, Malcolm X became a champion of these ideas. He gave fiery speeches promoting black nationalism. He also criticized mainstream civil rights leaders' message of tolerance and harmony. It made little sense when African Americans were being abused and killed. Eventually, Malcolm X was featured in a news program about the Nation of Islam. He said the NOI didn't want to improve relations between the races, and that whites were corrupt and murderous. The show shocked its national audience. Some saw the anti-white sentiment as its own form of bigotry, but plenty of African Americans felt the NOI was finally giving them a voice. Membership doubled in the weeks following the broadcast. Malcolm X helped take them from a small group to a national movement. He even inspired the world's most famous athlete, boxer Muhammad Ali, to join. But as the media attention grew, so did tension within the NOI. Elijah Muhammad began to see Malcolm's popularity as a threat, and Malcolm began to question NOI leadership. He split from the Nation of Islam in 1964. He converted to the Sunni sect of the religion and set off on a pilgrimage to Mecca. This journey to the birthplace of Islam is a rite of passage for Muslims. In Saudi Arabia, he saw people of all races worshiping together. On a trip to Africa, he saw white students caring for the sick and needy. Malcolm began to see the plight of black Americans from a new perspective. Unfortunately, he would have few chances to share his new outlook. He was assassinated less than a year after his journey to Mecca. It's widely assumed he was murdered by agents of the Nation of Islam, revenge for Malcolm's criticism of Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm's views had softened in the last year of his life, but he never came around to King's focus on peaceful demonstration. He was more in touch with folks' frustrations than their sense of hope. A big part of his appeal was that he provided an outlet for this anger. I'm sure that's partly why there's no national holiday for him, like Martin Luther King Day. Hold on, what are you writing? You can't just use what I said in your Malcolm X report. Have you learned nothing from our plagiarism movie?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Hello, Miss Beckles. Come on in. That was perfect timing. Oh, no, it just stopped. Okay, so don't worry. We will talk way more about other civil rights leaders and social service.
Movie is very funny.
But it is time for library. Okay, I'm going to check off on our schedule. There we go. Next on the schedule, we have library, and then math, and then story time.
Thank you, Elliot. Make sure I don't run into anybody or anything.
Okay.
I did so we could finish it and maybe even do the next one. We are going to finish Square and we might even get to make Square today. Yeah, I was thinking we could, well, this will connect and make more sense when we do the story. I will show you.
What is
So we started a story that happens in different parts last week. We started with the story triangle and then we got a little bit into the story square and we haven't started circle yet.
I do not know that. I'm not done.
Remember, we'll start at the beginning of square today to catch everybody up, Birdie. So we'll catch you up. Don't worry. Does anybody remember what that word we use to describe stories that happen in different parts? It starts with an S. That's right, Charles. It's a series. So we're reading more books in this series. Now, this is a series that specifically happens in 3 parts. So we don't call it a tricycle, which is a bike with 3 wheels. We call it a trilogy. That's a story that happens in 3 parts. All right, but we're going to start with a little shape recognizing activity. So wherever you are, if you're in the classroom or if you are learning from home, look around the space that you're in and look at the shapes that I'm showing you in this picture right here. Can you identify any of these shapes? Do you see any of them? All right, Birdie's showing us. Birdie, you want to unmute and tell us what shape are you seeing?
Alexa,
Yeah, and what shape is your Alexa?
a circle.
Yeah, she's a circle. All right, let's see. In this room, I see some of the shapes I see on the board. What do you see, Ford?
Squirrel. Those.
Yeah, so I'll move this guy. Ford is pointing towards the calendar and he's saying the days of the month look like squares. Oh,
That's one.
counting squares. Yep.
This little gem that I found.
What shape does it look like to you, Birdie?
What? Okay, I forgot. But I found it somewhere.
Yeah, so that looks kind of like a triangle, a little bit. All right, Wheeler. Oh, Wheeler is patiently raising his hand. What square do you, or what shape do you see?
It's glass.
Ooh, where do you see rectangles? Yeah, on the calendar map. Okay. Venus sees one.
I see a square on my workspace, and I also see rectangles right there. So like the rectangle,
Yeah,
right over there.
there's a rectangle.
Rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. That's right, because rectangles, this is a rectangle, right? Because we've got our 4 points here. This is also a rectangle because we've also got our 4 points.
And the one below that.
Yep, and another one.
And there's even
Amazing.
and one is
Yes, Wanda's cage is also kind of a big rectangle. All right. Ford has been waiting patiently to recognize a shape.
this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small.
Yeah, so Ford's pointing to what letter in your name?
My O is in the shape of a circle.
Yeah, so Ford sees the O, the shape of a circle. Elliot's ready to point out a shape.
I see a heart.
There's a heart. Do you see a heart in the room? I'm looking for one. Wait. Okay. Elliot, do you see a heart in the room?
I don't see.
Here's one. You can make one with your hands.
I know. I don't see one like.
I know. I was looking to see up on the counting up there because usually there's at least one Valentine thing.
Right there. You have to
Oh. Oh yes, there's some hearts.
I have one. There's
You
a
got one?
100-year-old penny that I found.
100-year-old penny. That's another circle we see. All
Yep,
right.
and it's 100 years that I found.
Wow.
Old
That's
elf.
a century old. Okay, I see a couple more hands I'm going to check on, and then we're going to move back into square. Oh, we've actually got one more little quick thing to do. Then we'll do square story. Yes, Ford, your hand's up.
The ceiling is a gigantic square.
Yes, the ceiling, I'll point up, is a gigantic
not
square
a-
made of a bunch of rectangles.
I know.
That's
Two
right.
things in one.
All right.
Not a-
So this will help catch you up a little bit on this series, Birdie. So this series is kind of especially full of, this book is full of like kind of tricks and pranks and things, and it's pretty silly and funny. So we played a little game to get to know the author and illustrator. It was called Two Truths and a Trick. A trick. It could be a lie, but I use the word trick. So right here, I'm going to read you 3 sentences about this book. Your job is to try to be a detective and figure out which one is the trick. So sentence number 1 is triangle walks past big triangles, medium triangles, and small triangles in the story.
Lie.
Let me show you.
2 is triangle plays a sneaky trick and pretends to be a bird. That's number 2. Number 3 is square gets stuck in triangle's door. So think about this story. Which one is the trick? Which one did not happen in the story? Was it 1, 2, or 3?
Square gets stuck in something
Some
else.
hands pointing. I see some 2s. I see some 3s. So I will show my work, show my evidence. And we'll see if this changes anybody's mind. All right. So I'll take this down too for a second. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen so you can see the book better.
Triangle.
So number 1 was he walks past big triangles, medium triangles, and small triangles. Is that a trick?
No.
Yes or no? No, because we see it happening right here in the story. All right. Number 2 was triangle plays a sneaky trick on square by pretending to be a bird.
No.
Is that true?
No.
What sound did he make? We made it 4 times. Do birds make that sound? No. Ooh, so is 2
We
the trick?
pretended to be a snake because Square is afraid of snakes.
Exactly. So 2, is that a trick?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 was my trick. And in the end, who's stuck in the door? Square. So the trick was number 2. And we know that's correct because I showed you evidence for what actually happened in the book. Now, let's read Mac Barnett and John Klassen's book, Square. And right here, I'll show you again, somebody wrote in this book. But was this a good thing or a bad thing? It was a good thing because the person who made the pictures in this book, John Klassen, wrote in this book to make it one of a kind just for our library. So it says to St. Francis Library from John Klassen, which is really cool. And it's square. He did the pictures. Mac Barnett did the words. Part 1 says, this is a square, and this is Square's secret. It's a secret cave.
Is triangle in this one?
You're going to have to find out. Every day, Square goes down to his cave, and he takes a block from a pile below the ground. He pushes the block up, up, and out of the cave. And we know that that's pretty hard because what is that real force in the world that keeps us on the ground? And it's gravity. So he's pushing up against gravity. He brings the block.
Too.
Yes, that's right, Isley. He brings the block to the pile at the top of the hill. And this is his work. So our book doesn't tell us why this is his work or his job. We just know that it is.
It's applied for anyone who needs help.
Ooh, maybe. I love that. Elliot suggests that maybe
Circle.
he's helping. Yeah, here's Circle. So one day Square was doing his work when, as I think it was Birdie just pointed out, Circle came floating by. Square, said Circle, you are a genius. And genius is kind of a big word. Do we know what it means? Does anyone have a suggestion? Oh, please raise your hand first. I saw Adeline's hand, so I'm going to call on her, then I'll call over on you and Ford if you have more to add.
Genius means really small.
Yeah, so Adeline says really smart. Somebody who's really smart. I want to kind of add to that after I hear what Ford has to say. Ford, what do you think of when you hear the word genius?
I think a genius just means you're super good at doing that.
So fourth is super good at doing that or doing something. So it might be smart, might be talented. So I want to tell just a quick little side story about a real person who was an inventor. He was actually the inventor of the light bulb. His name is Thomas Edison. He also invented many other things that we still use to this day in our life to make us able to live a little bit better and more easily. So he was very, very smart. But when somebody asked him what it meant to be a genius, he said it was 99% perspiration. That's a big word for sweat or hard work. And 1% inspiration. Well, because in his mind, being a genius wasn't just being smart, wasn't just being talented, it was also working really hard and caring about how to help people and make their lives safer or better. So being a genius can be about being smart or being talented, but often it also involves working hard to also be a helper for people. So keep that in mind too. So she says, you're a genius. Yes, Elliot?
I'm very smart. When I make a cardboard house, I find a balcony with a shelter over it.
Oh, nice. So that's a way to help.
That's very.
Yeah. That's some genius you're recognizing in your life and in your creations, Elliot. That's awesome. So to pick up with this story, Circle says, you're a genius. I didn't know you were a sculptor. Yes, says Circle. What's a sculptor? Circle says, a sculptor shapes blocks into art. Yes, says Square. I see what you mean. But I'm going to tell you another little secret that I'm reading on this page. He didn't really know what she meant.
He's tricking her.
Is he tricking her, or more like he wanted to understand, but he didn't know how to ask the question? That's kind of what I think, but I'm not sure. We'll have to keep reading and see if we change our mind. Sorry, I think I might be a little bit in front of this. I'm moving over. This is a wonderful sculpture, says Circle. It looks just like you, Square. Square looked at his block. He was a little surprised. He said, yes, I suppose it's wonderful. Now, said Circle, you must sculpt one for me. So that means she wants this block to be turned into what shape? A circle. Circle says, I will come back for it tomorrow. Goodbye, genius. Circle, said Square, I think I should tell you something. Maybe this would be a good time to explain that he didn't really know what she meant by sculptor. But look what happened. Do you see Circle? Nope, that's because she was already gone. Oh, dear, 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 said Square. Yes, Dana, did you have something to add?
Well, he was gone. He ran into it. Yeah, he just like rolled up.
Yeah.
Right back downhill.
Yeah, so, or gravity could have been pulling her down the hill, right? Maybe. Yeah, so Vina was just saying Circle went off pretty fast. And maybe it was because of gravity or something pulling her down the hill. Oh, dear, 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 said Square. He studied the block. I have to make this block look like a circle. Circle is perfect. So I must make this look perfect. So he got out a chisel, got out a hammer, and he got to work shaping the block. Oh, crumbs, he said after he made his first little shape. This is not perfect. So he kept working. Oh, dirt, said Square. This is actually much worse. He went back to work. What's happening now? Don't say it. You can show me with your hands what's coming down from the sky. Just kind of like this morning or like yesterday, rain. And we can see his little eyes are big and he says, ah!
I must get an umbrella.
Yes, I wish he had an umbrella. Maybe if he got an umbrella, he could grow like another arm to hold it. He had carved that whole block away. There was nothing left. He was surrounded by rubble. Rubble is all these kind of little pieces of rock that he had chipped off with his chisel. Ooh, Adelie made an interesting observation. Keep that in your mind. I think that's a pretty important prediction. Whatever is the opposite of perfect, that's what this is, said Square. I have to stay up all night and figure this out. But we can see in the illustration, the picture on this page, and you all can show me as if we were playing charades, what ended up happening. He said, I'm going to stay up all night, but instead, oh, look at that Isley showing us. What's he doing instead? He tried to stay up, but instead, he fell asleep. The next morning, Square woke up wet. He despaired. Another big word for saying really, really. Do we think happy or sad? Sad. What have I done? He asked. I push blocks. I don't shape them. I'm not a genius. I wish I could pause this story and ask Circle, are you okay? Do you need a hug? I'm having a hard moment. Oh, that's right, Square. Charles pointed out that I meant to ask Square that. But right now, speaking of Circle, she floats back in. Hello, genius, said Circle. I'm early. Oh, dear, whispered Square. Are you finished? Asked Circle. Oh, yes, said Square. I'm finished. Circle peered down. And peered down means looked down into that water. Oh my, she said. It was beautiful. It was beguiling. That's a big word to almost say like magical and enchanting and interesting. It's perfect, said Circle. So right here on this page, how many circles did Square actually kind of make? At least one, because one is, what do you call when you see yourself in a mirror image of something? Yeah. Reflection, that's it, Isley. And then also, what about this? The shape. Was another circle. So how do you think he's feeling right now? Great, and maybe even surprised. It is? Asked Square. Circle said, yes, you are a genius. So now that he kind of had a different perspective and a different opinion on this, Circle looked down at what he'd made. He was. So our Square's lesson in this was, is there one way to go about making something perfect? And does something perfect intent or often turn out the way you maybe had pictured in your mind? No. Not always. Yeah. So that is the end. And I will let you all choose. I was thinking that based on and inspired by this book and the fact that it's all about making shapes, we might want to get out our Play-Doh and make some circles and squares and things.
I need a spoon. It's really hard.
With our last kind of 8 or 9 minutes.
Use this thing front door.
We might save Circle for Wednesday.
I'm going to do some circle right now. Fine, but
All right, I'll let you all vote. I love how much you love these stories. Usually no one picks books over Play-Doh. All right.
They're using Play-Doh, so here's some Play-Doh if you need some. Okay.
All right, here we go. So if you are in the classroom, if you want to do Play-Doh, raise your hand. All right, hands on. If you want to hear circle, raise your hand. Oh, wow. Okay, so friends at home, what do we think? Are we more into, I think you all can have your Play-Doh if you want, and I'll just read circle too, since some of us already have it out. It's up to you. And here it might be a little bit too much to have books and Play-Doh out. All right, I will pin it. I will never say no to reading more books. Yes, Elliot?
I really want circle.
Okay.
I could read circle.
Can we also repick the pug one day?
Oh, I can bring a Pig the Pug. I'll maybe bring some Pig the Pug books on Wednesday since we're going to get ahead of Miss Blank's class today with Circle. That's a great suggestion, Isley.
I think about
All right, so let's take one maybe big circle balloon breath before we do this so we can shake out some of our little bit of wiggles in here. So take our hands. Let's make them sparkly. Find your tummy. All right, one more time. All right, just for funsies, let's make a triangle in some way with our body. Can you show me? How can you do a triangle? There's lots of different ways. Ooh, I see someone's doing with legs, someone's doing with fingers. Ooh, someone's doing by touching their toes. Here's one way I learned earlier. You can put your hands on your hips. That makes some triangles. Ooh, Ford's showing me you can do it by using your hands and your shoulders as the bottom part. Or look at this. Triangle. All right, last but not least, can you make a square?
Look
Here's how I
at
do
I
it.
made. I put my foot on here.
You made circle. I love it. All right, here's how I do a square or a rectangle. So make your two fingers, one into an L, another one into a backwards L. Take one hand, put your pointer finger pointing towards the ground, and put it together.
That's a working.
There's your rectangle. And if you want to make it more like a square, you just sort of move it down. There we go. Now that we moved a little bit, here's Circle's story. We'll see how far we get. And look, we've got one more little signature here. This is who? This Circle.
I
And look,
made an egg.
ooh, Birdie's got a circle and an egg. This is Circles. What is this? Comes water coming over the edge of a cliff. A waterfall. This is Circle's waterfall. One day, Circle and Square and Triangle, the whole gang's back together again, played a game near the waterfall. Circle said, "These are the rules. I will close my eyes. I will count to 10, and you must," without shouting out, what game do we think this is? Hide and seek. "When I open my eyes, I will try to find you." Square said, "Okay." Triangle said, "Neat." There is one. Neat means kind of like, yes, okay. It's a way of agreeing with somebody. So it seems like they all agreed to Circle's rule, right? Circle says there's one more rule. No hiding behind the waterfall. Square said, okay. Triangle said, why not? "Because," said Circle, "it's dark back there." Square said, okay. And Triangle said, "I'm not afraid of the dark." Now think back. Nod your head or shake your head. Is that true about Triangle?
No. The last time Square locked the door, he was afraid of the dark.
That's right, Vina. Good remembering. Circle closed her eyes and she counted to 10. Ready or not, here can you finish the sentence? Do you all like being it or do you like hiding?
I like being it.
Like being it? We've got a mix.
Hiding.
Yeah.
I like being it. I
Mhm.
like hiding in my house because I can go in my house and hide.
So we've got a mix in here of people who like to hide and people who prefer to be it. I like both. When she opened her eyes, Square was standing right here. And he was pointing and he said, "What do you think? Who can be Square right here? What message do you think Square feels behind the waterfall?" So notice here, because of Triangle's choice, could they even play the game? Triangle seems to have broken the rules. Circle sighed, "I'll go find him." Circle said, "Square, you are very, very brave." "I know," Circle said, and so she slipped behind the waterfall. It was quiet on the other side of the waterfall. Circle called, "Does anyone Don't shout it out this time. Want to make a prediction? What do you think she says when she went in there? Adeline, I love the way you raised your hand.
Look what I made.
Ooh, you've got another circle there. She said triangle, triangle. Where are you? But listen, there was no answer. Farther inside, there wasn't much light. Triangle, triangle, where are you? But still, listen again. No answer. That's right, Charles. She went in even further. I'm gonna hold this close so you can see the whole page. Until it was all what? Dark. We can only see her eyes here. Triangle, said Circle. There you are. Why do you always break the rules? But once again, listen.
I
No
made
answer.
a donut.
Yum. I'm hungry. I would like to have a donut now.
I want to choose.
There was no answer, but there's a clue on the page that there might be another shape in here, right? Uh-huh. So here, I'll read this part of the story. Why do you always spoil our fun, says Circle? And once again, we're going to listen. There was no answer. Why are you making... Oh, do you think it's a hexagon?
Yeah, or some other thing.
I don't know. We got to keep reading. Why do you make choices like that? Poor choices, asked Circle. But again, no answer. I'm sorry, said Circle. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have made you feel like a bad friend. You're a good friend. You just made us worried. We love you, Triangle. But look at this page. Are there any words for me to read you? No answer. Oh no, it's 11:45. Should I leave you on a cliffhanger?
What?
I have to go. Or should I finish it really fast? Okay. I know. I feel like there's a little too much suspense here. Okay, so there's nothing on this page. Thanks, Triangle, said from behind her. What? Circle turned around and said, Triangle? Yes, said Triangle. I'm sure glad to see you in Square. But Circle said, Square is outside.
I knew it.
This is not Square. I thought it was you. No, said Triangle. That is not me. No, said Circle. Oh, said Triangle. And now at this page, Circle turned back and she faced the shape in the dark. Who are you? She asked. Now here, there's something for me to read to you.
I think
There was no answer. Ah! Said Triangle. Triangle and Circle ran very fast back through the dark. Back through where there was not much light. And back through the waterfall, back outside. Square was waiting for them. They told him what happened. Well, said Square, I'm glad I stayed here. Triangle said, now I am afraid of the dark. And Circle looked back at the waterfall falling. You know, that shape in the dark might not have been bad. It could have been a good shape. We just couldn't see it. Circle closed her eyes. I wonder what kind of shape was it? He doesn't leave us hanging. They all closed their eyes. They all pictured a shape. And then our author and illustrator have a question for us. If you close your eyes, what shape do you picture?
I put the rest of my rumpled up dough in here, and then I put the nice part right here.
Oh, wonderful. All right, if you're at home, go ahead and put your Play-Doh away if you had it open, because our time's up, and I know Miss Vanderini has something else. So that shape that was in the dark is whatever shape you picture.
That part of the book was like really weird.
It is. It's kind of
It was
different.
like confusing. It was like confusing because I'm like, why are there two eyes in the dark? Wendy, why did we get a new
Friends,
math
I will
book?
see you on Wednesday for maybe a Pig the Pug day. All right. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye. So Charles, do you still see a hexagon?
Miss Vanderwendy. Miss Vanderwendy.
Right there.
Okay.
Miss Vanderwendy will be right there, so just hang on for 1 second. She's coming. Bye. All right. Aya, did you have a question or something you
No,
wanted to tell
Catherine
me?
was asking you something.
Oh, it was Catherine?
Math book if we didn't finish this one.
What? Yeah, that one you just hold on to. We started our new one.
But why do we still have it?
Because we have it because we don't have time to finish like 2 math books in the beginning of the first semester. We get through as much as we can. Okay, let's see here. Another series? Well, we'll have to the pug on Wednesday. I think that's a series. Okay. But yes, thank you for that request.
So here's the thing. I did not find any other ones. So this is pretty much almost done. Can you stay in for a little bit? Okay. Yeah, so I didn't find any. Okay.
All right, everybody, let's do some checking off on our schedule and see what's next. Library was so fun today. I loved listening to all those stories. Okay, let's check off library. Next on the schedule, we have math and then story time and then pack up and go home. We're all done. So math and then story time. All right, everybody, let's do some math. Okay, you are gonna need your something to count. You could count teddy bear counters, you could count blocks, you could count anything you'd like. You're gonna need about 11 or 12 of something. You could count little blocks, little balls, you could count Legos, you could count pennies, you could count gold coins, and you're gonna need your 10 frame. You're gonna need these 2 things. Okay. So let's see. My class helper Vina, will you pass one of these out to everybody, please? Do I need the 600 today?
I have 7,000. I have 11. I have more than 12. That's something like 20. Yeah. 20. That's okay, I have 10. I have 10. I have 21. Guess what? Guess what? I have 10 and 5. You also
Okay, there we go. Just getting those passed out in the classroom. Okay, I am going to switch my screen here. Okay, so we have, yes, Vina. Okay, so we have our 10 frame here. So it's a frame. And let's count how many boxes. We haven't used one of these in a while. Let's count how many boxes we have in here, how many squares. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so our 10 frame has 10 boxes in it. I have a lot of bear counters here. Look at this. I think I have more than 10 bear counters. Whoa, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14 bear counters. And there's 10 squares. If I put one of each, are they all going to fit? Are they all going to fit? Let's try. Let's try it. Let's see. I'm going to put a bear counter in every square. Let's see if one will fit in every square. Oh, look, I filled them all up. There's 10. There's one in each square. But it looks like I have left over. Look at that. I have left over. So 10 fit in the 10 frame. 10 fit. And then I have some left over.
The amount of your leftover is 4.
Yes, I have 4 left over. You're right, Isley. Very good. So only 10 fit in the 10 frame. The leftovers go on the side. Okay, everybody filled up their 10 frame with 10 things. Wonderful, Catherine and Colin. I see that, and Finn. Okay, wonderful. Now, I want to show you something. You all can just look at this. You don't have to do this. Okay, you don't have to do this part. You're just going to be looking at this part, okay? So I have a little whiteboard here, and I have all of my teddy bear counters. I want to make a group of 10, and I want to circle it with my marker. So I'm just doing this, and y'all are watching, okay? Well, if I want to make a group of 10, I could put my teddy bears in nice, neat rows, and that would help me count them and circle a group of 10. Because I don't want extra ones, I just want 10. So let's see, let me circle my group of 10. Let's see here. Wheeler, Elliott, shh. Okay, let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I could circle my group of 10. I made a group of 10, and there's 4 left over out here. Do you see how easy it was to circle that group of 10? Because all of my teddy bear counters were in nice, neat, organized rows. Look what would happen. Look at how much harder it is to make a group of 10 when they're just all mixed up all over the place. Oh my goodness, here we go. This is gonna be harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, look, these are my ones that are left over, right? So this is my group of 10 here. If I wanted to circle the group of 10, I'm just gonna put a big circle around the group of 10. You see how I did that? I put a big circle around the group of 10. These are all my leftovers.
Kind of looks like a weird avocado.
It does kind of. These are all my leftovers. This is what you wouldn't want to do to circle the group of 10. This is what would make it a little harder. Yeah, okay, look at this. We're gonna do some circling in our math book. So here's my group of 10. There's my leftovers. What if I went like this, and then, oh, I want this, and oh yeah, I want that one too, and this one, oh, this one. That doesn't look good. Oh my goodness, that's so confusing.
It looks like a weird roller coaster made out of marker.
That's so confusing. We don't want to see circles like that. That looks pretty messy and confusing. So this is how we want to.
Roller coaster made by a marker.
Yeah. So this is how we want to circle our groups of 10. Yes. Yes, Charles. Yeah. So this is how we want to circle our groups of 10. Okay? Just like that. Okay, we're gonna do some practicing in our math books here. So we can go ahead and put our 10 frames away. We can put our teddy bear counters away or whatever you were using to count. So we're gonna put our counters away. We're gonna put our 10 frames away. We are gonna be using our 10 frames for math tomorrow, so don't put them too far away. And we're gonna get our math books out. We're gonna get our math books out once your counters are all put up.
Miss Vanderwindy, I can't find my math book.
Okay, well, keep looking for it. Keep looking for it till you find it. We're working in this one today, our new math books. Keep on looking for it, Catherine. Okay, we're gonna turn to page 20. We're gonna turn to page 20 in our math books. So I want you to use a pencil. I'm gonna use a black marker so you can see really well on the screen, but I want you all to use a pencil. Oh, good job, Elliot has his math book out. Colin and Finn and Ford and Charles have their math books out. Harrison and Vina and Adeline have their math books out. Wheeler's cleaning up. So we need page 20 and a pencil. Page 20, we're skipping some pages. We're turning to page 20. And the directions on page 20 say, circle 10 things. Circle 10 things. Kids at home, I will be right back. I need to help the kids in the classroom find the right page. I'll be right back, kids at home.
Miss Vanderwindy, now I need help finding it, but I already found it, but now I need help finding that page.
Okay, I'll be right here, Catherine. So Catherine, we are on page 20, a 20, and it looks just like this. Page 20, a 20. It looks just like, okay, we ready? So everybody has their pencil out? The directions say circle 10 things. Well, we're gonna do the soccer balls first. We need to put a big circle around 10 soccer balls. Ooh, they're in nice, neat rows. That'll make it easier. I'm gonna cross one out as I count, so I don't forget which ones I've already counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's all of them. We need to put a big circle around all of them. Do you see how my circle looks nice and neat? It's not a bunch of squiggly wiggly lines. It's just one big circle. You see that? Okay, now we're gonna count these baseballs, these red and white baseballs. I'm gonna cross them out as I count so I know which ones I've already counted. Remember, we're doing 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, there's gonna be some left over. We're not gonna circle all of them. There's gonna be some left over. I'm gonna put a circle around 10 of them. But look, we had 2 left over. Good job, Elliot. We're not gonna circle all of them. We had 2 left over. We only wanna circle 10. Doesn't it make it so much easier when they're in these nice, neat rows? Ooh, these green and white baseballs are in nice, neat rows too. Okay, we're gonna circle 10 of the green and white baseballs. I'm gonna cross them out as I count them so I don't get mixed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's my group of 10. Okay, I'm gonna circle that group of 10. But wow, we have a lot left over. We have a whole bunch of the green and white balls left over. So check your circles to make sure you're not doing squiggly line circles. Check and make sure you're just doing one big circle, not a bunch of squiggly line circles. Okay, oh no, now we have to count the footballs, and look, they're not in nice, neat rows this time. The soccer balls and the baseballs, those were in nice, neat rows. Look at the footballs. Look at the basketballs. Those are not in nice, neat rows. Those are going to be way harder. We have got to really make sure we don't do the squiggly line circles. Okay, let's count 10. We're going to count 10 footballs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have my group of 10 footballs. Look how I'm going to do this line, this circle, so I don't do a big squiggly line. There, that doesn't look too bad. See? It's not a huge squiggly line circle. It just has one little part there to make sure that those are the leftovers. Okay. Those footballs were pretty hard. Make sure your circle looks as nice as it can without squiggly lines.
I'm gonna do the basketball.
Uh-oh, yeah. Let's get a pencil and erase that and try to do it again. Okay, let's try the basketballs. Oh my goodness, the basketballs are not in nice, neat, even lines either. They're gonna be hard too. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so there's going to be one extra basketball. You see how my circle, it just left one out. There's going to be one leftover basketball that's not in our circle because we want 10, a group of 10 basketballs.
Face of mine.
What's that, Catherine?
Face. I need a face of mine.
Okay.
See?
Did you make a circle? Did you do a circle around 10?
Yep, and it's a face. This little emoji face.
Oh. Tomorrow. Okay, so do you see how this basketball one is left out? So I did my circle, my group of 10 as that wasn't as very squiggly. It had to be a little squiggly, but I tried to make it as straight as possible. Okay, kids at home, I'm going to check the kids in the classroom real fast, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm going to leave that there so you can kind of still see a little bit. Okay.
I did a fan.
Yeah, we do this tomorrow.
Look, I need a telescope. I don't know if I did mine right. I don't know if I did
everybody. We'll keep working on that again tomorrow in math. I know that can be a little tricky. We're going to keep working on that again all week long. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to switch back. Whoops, turn my video off. I'm going to switch back to regular video, and let's do some checking off on the schedule. And I think we have story time next. Okay, we are going to check off math. Next on our schedule, story time, and then pack up and go home. All right, let's finish off that story we were reading. Yes, our Frog and Toad story we were reading. Let's see, here's my bookmarks. I remembered which page. Okay, good. Adeline's ready. Harrison's clean. Nina, we were crossing. Ellie's clean. Ford, ready? You start cleaning, Ford. Okay, we left off on the chapter that's called The Surprise. Oh, and it says it was October, so that means this one is about fall and autumn. It was October. The leaves had fallen off the trees. They were lying on the ground. I will go to Toad's house, said Frog. I will take all the leaves that have, I will rake all the leaves that have fallen on the lawn. Toad will be so surprised. Frog took a rake out of the garden shed. Toad looked out of his window. These messy leaves have covered everything, said Toad. He took a rake out of the closet. I will run over to Frog's house. I will rake all of his leaves. Frog will be very pleased. Frog ran through the woods so that Toad wouldn't see him. Toad ran through the high grass so that Frog wouldn't see him. Frog came to Toad's house. He looked in the window. Good, said Frog. Toad is out. He will never know who raked his leaves. Toad got to Frog's house. He looked in the window. Good, said Toad. Frog is not home. He will never guess who raked his leaves.
Oh, no.
Frog worked hard. He raked the leaves into a pile. Soon Toad's lawn was clean. Frog picked up his rake and started home. Toad pushed and pulled on the rake. He raked the leaves into a pile. Soon there was not a single leaf in Frog's front yard. Toad took his rake and started home. A wind came. It blew across the land. The pile of leaves that Frog had raked for Toad blew everywhere. The pile of leaves that Toad had raked for Frog blew everywhere. When Frog got home, he said, tomorrow I will clean up the leaves that are all over my own yard. But how surprised Toad must be. When Toad got home, he said, tomorrow I will get to work and rake all of my own leaves. But how surprised Frog must be. That night, Frog and Toad were both happy when they each turned out the light and went to bed. Because they each thought that they helped each other, their friend. It's funny. So cute. Okay, the next one's called Christmas Eve. So this must be about winter. Okay, it's Christmas is over, but that's okay. We'll read it anyway. We are out of time for story time though, so I'm going to put my bookmark here and we'll read this one in the morning for morning meeting. We'll start with this story, okay, for morning meeting tomorrow. Okay, everyone, I had a good day with you. Bye, Colin. Bye, Eyelet. Bye, Catherine. Bye, Finn. See y'all in the morning.